Welcome. If they won't listen, episode 19. How is everybody doing tonight?
19. It just seems amazing to me that we're already up to 19. We just barely started this yesterday, didn't we?
It feels like it, but it's moving. What about
Yeah.
the start of a new year, guys? Huh? How was
Indeed.
2020 for you guys?
2020 in a nutshell was, you know what it was like? It was like watching Beetlejuice when everyone's like having dinner at the table and they got like a bowl full of shrimp. And it's like, you think you got this really great bowl of shrimp and you're going to have a nice, elegant meal. But instead, you just wind up singing some kind of mambo song. And then you start dancing from your seats and everything. And before you know it, the shrimp's just coming out to grab your face. Like you don't know what's going to happen next, but you're getting forced into the swing of things. And that's how I felt 2020 was. I was just forced to go to the swing of things.
Yeah. What about you, Topher? Where are you at? How was 2020 as a year for?
As a whole, I'm going back to the whole dumpster fire analogy. It was, I don't know, it really, really feels like somebody just got a hair across their ass, thought they were being cute, tossed a match in a dumpster, and poof, here it goes. I'm just really, really hoping that, it doesn't spread something, the air current catches something that's on fire and drops it down into a nice dry patch of something that's been left by 2020 and ignites the whole goddamn world, because that will suck ass.
Yeah, this year has set some unprecedented expectations, though. Like the bar that was set in 2020 for 2021 to live up to it. Yeah. So let's touch on some things that happened this year. First thing that I was looking up, interesting. They always not in the worst fucking way. They interest me because when they happen, they're usually 100% negative, typically, except for the person doing it. Being that I'm talking about explosions. So when I say that, what comes to you guys' mind in 2020? Because there's like 5 to 7 different ones that I can bring up that were very serious and happened this year. Some kind of recently. What comes to mind?
You see, I can tell you right now, I don't watch the news. It's not because I choose to be ignorant. It's because I just don't really have any desire to be that depressed. There's enough things going on in my own bubble to be, about. And it's not that I don't care, because it does suck. People died, people got hurt, families lost their loved ones, whatever. And I understand that, and it sucks. It's horrible. I'm good. I've got enough to deal with without having to deal with somebody else's troubles. So no, I don't watch the news, and I didn't see anything about bombings.
Okay. Oh, I'll let you go, Spencer, before I blow his mind, because he's not gonna believe some of the stuff that's happened this year. Maybe you too, but I suspect.
Oh no. We've had this conversation. The stupidity of people no longer surprises me. I've been around too long and seen too much shit for it to surprise me. The links they go to amaze me still every day, but it doesn't surprise me.
No, maybe that was the wrong word, but still, there's some shit that I've never seen this year. What about you, Spencer? Anything come to mind? Have you any other reports? Anything that happened this year?
Anything else that happened this year?
Explosion wise.
I saw it when I was driving up to go see my parents through Zoom, because I went to go stay in the guest house. So it was like, divided by a house. I don't want anybody to think I was bringing any COVID rules or anything like that. But I was driving up, and I got like a vibrating message. I looked at it, and the news was like explaining to me that there was a bombing in, I believe, Oklahoma. Was it Oklahoma or was it Kansas? What was the location, Rich?
Of which one? I'm sorry, I was reading an article.
The one The one that
Ask you a
happened
question and
Christmas
doesn't pay
Day.
any attention. What the fuck?
I was paying attention. Of a picture for the next what I was going to bring up.
Okay, the bombing that happened Christmas Day. Where was the location of that?
Tennessee, Nashville. Yeah, I have that one pulled up. There was a bunch of you can continue. Tennessee.
Well, I was explaining. That's like the only explosion I heard of throughout the holidays. However, hearing about it, guaranteed if it was some other year, I think I'd have a little bit more concern for it. But when you're coming to the tail end of 2020, it's just like, yeah, sure. Let's add more shit onto the rest of this year. What else? What else could go wrong? Because I can't see a possible end. I can't see the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's my point. Part of my point. By the end of it, really, you could do almost anything to us at this point, and it would A, not surprise anybody, and B, really not make things a whole lot worse.
Yeah. So maybe you guys heard about it and forgot or saw it and didn't, or maybe y'all just didn't hear about it in general. But so there was a few cataclysmic fucking things that happened this year. One of them being Spencer brought it up. So, and I mean, this is only cataclysmic in the scale of recency, not to downplay it compared to anything else. But yeah, on the 25th there was the Nashville bombing, which it has a little bit of conspiracy behind it, and is kind of weird, I guess. So there was an RV with a bomb in it in front of a building, and on top of that, there was. So you guys can see that, right?
Word, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a bomb in front of an RV building, and there was a conspiracy online, kind of according to what I read, that said that they thought the primary spot in the blast was the RV, but it wasn't. It was a bunch of mailed packages that were mailed to places in the apartment, and they all went off, and it was this whole timed and themed thing.
So he actually put some serious thought into this.
Yeah, it's like right here, the first shot is before the explosion. There's a circle around the RV, and they're talking about the source and all these things, because online there was tons of like according to what I read, a weird, right here, a combination of altered depiction of events. It was just so, I don't know if it was by the perpetrator or just a coincidence with how crazy the internet gets, but there was an altering of the evidence about it, which sparked a bit of a controversy, trying to maybe hide what happened. But there was I'll find the actual thing. But yeah, so this just happened right here. This is the picture from on top and the sides and shit. Definitely not a good one. This ripped the entire front of a fucking building off. A blanket ad. It's convenient.
And then an ad for a blanket that melts the stress away.
Yes. The federal law enforcement said Saturday the FBI was investigating the mailed materials. We are aware the suspect sent materials which espoused his viewpoints to several acquaintances through the country. And so they sent a bunch of mailed packages, and it says right here, if you get any package or material from Anthony Warner, that's the guy who got sent it, they're encouraged to contact the FBI. But yeah, so weird. Not only an explosion, but there was a bit of a controversy about where the source was from and how it happened. And I mean, this is a pretty cut and dry thing, more or less, bombing off. But the fact that there was two bombs in the same, one on the street and one inside, and then controversy online. What do you guys think? Coincidence or planned plot by the assailant?
Serendipitous.
Just good timing, you think?
Just like hey, shit happens, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Whatever happened to going back on that one? It was just like, yeah, shit happens.
Yep. So the rule
happens and happens and happens.
the overall rule here is we cannot show any audio, but we can show video. So this is
That's good because audio is kind of hard to show.
yeah, you got me there. I believe this is the video I checked up before the show to show you guys. Just the before or the after part? I'm gonna scrub real quick and try to. Yeah, that's post explosion. The video, nonetheless, there was a video I was looking at. I don't know where it was. This was the tab I had up and everything of the explosion, and I totally watched it before the show. But neither here nor there. So that just happened. Do you guys hear about the Beirut explosion at all?
No, enlighten me, please.
So this is by far the most interesting, intriguing one. I'm going to show you pictures while we discuss it. No bullshit. So there was ammonium nitrate, a thing used in explosions. A fucking, I believe that was the chemical. A shit ton of it, nonetheless, of a chemical on a boat, and it was supposed to be going A to B, and the boat had problems, so it got harbored, and it got harbored at a factory, and that was this factory, and then it sat there, boat being fixed, legal issues, yada yada, and then X amount of years later, no one took care of this chemical. And there's a bit of a controversy and conspiracy behind this too. We can dig into that. But ridiculously serious, like ridiculously serious. I saw the explosion, and I mean videos 2 miles away from the top of a skyscraper shook like a ridiculously strong earthquake. It just insane.
Well, I could be wrong, but it does kind of look like it ripped away part of the land too. It was that bad because the rest of that whole bay area is squared off, except for that one chunk right there by the building that's all fucked up.
Mm-hmm. I'll get it, put it up, and we can just keep talking for a minute. So I don't got to click around. But yeah, no, it was fucking insane. Like I woke up one morning, and my typical morning routine is, get the daughter set, and then coffee, go to the bathroom, and then pop onto Reddit, and let's see top all time. What's the majority of the people talking about? And it was this Beirut explosion, and it gets deeper. So we have the Beirut explosion, which was horrifying, and I will find a video of that and get that up, but it absolutely horrifying. It hurt thousands. I forget how many it killed. The Beirut one at least, but a weird conspiracy I found online on the same day, and I'm gonna read a title and then go back to looking for a video of Beirut for you guys. It says, "What's up with all these explosions and fires across the world in the last few days?" And this was posted on August 6, 2020, and there's gigantic blasts and apocalyptic fires in China, North Korea, Lebanon, India, the U.S. in 2 places, Iraq and Iran. And this was I was noticing these all in August, looking at the pictures, and it was like this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened, and it was like it was all overshadowed by Beirut, because the Beirut explosion, which I'll show you guys in a minute, was by far the biggest explosion of the year. But it just really fucking weird that there was it says right here, China's Hubei province, there was a chemical factory flash explosion, and the cause is under investigation. But that would, same thing, cloud 1,000 feet in the sky. But I don't know. I'm maybe only 26. You guys have a little more experience, but have you guys experienced a lot of massive bombings? 9/11 comes to mind as the most horrific fucking thing to go on, but 2020 has been full of bombings,
Yeah, I was actually in a place where other people were watching the news at the time. So I watched those go down. That was horrific. They crumbled, and I immediately started freaking out a little bit because my cousin lives in Manhattan and was working around there. Could have been there at any point in time. Thankfully, wasn't, but could have been.
Yeah, no, I had a few family members who knew some people who were involved in it, and it was. So I've got one angle of the video here I can show you guys. I mean, I'm sure there's better ones, but you get an understanding. This is a far away video, and it's fucking ridiculous. Like if I saw something this like this in person, I might just get on unemployment and never work again just for being scared. You guys can both see this.
Yes, sir.
That's the Beirut explosion. Like this, this guy is far away, and he knew from just hindsight that shit was going on to be looking in that, like what the, that's atomic bomb level.
It's nuts.
No, yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And there's tons of videos of the explosion. I think this one might be a height age restricted. Yeah. All right, but yeah, so we can get off explosions, I guess. But yeah, no, that was one of the topics I looked up to talk about to start the show, just because I find I've never seen a year where explosions were a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know if it's a coincidence. I think part of it is the same reason other things have, like, and this is going to ruffle feathers, I'm sure, but the Black Lives Matter movement. Yeah, okay, what the cops did to the guy was uncalled for. It was horrible. They had no business killing him on the spot. Absolutely none. Regardless of past history, regardless of what else. Yes, it was a bad thing. I don't think it would have blown up quite so badly, nor would anything else have blown up quite so badly, including, pun maybe intended, buildings, boats, whatever, had everybody not been so bored from COVID. And you got to take into effect that there are more people born every year, and the population of the world increases, and statistically saying there's more people, there's going to be more crazy people, there's going to be more people who are going to do whatever.
that's a terrible thing.
Oh, look, he's turned into a wino. Awesome.
No, I love one. No, it's a terrible thought. I don't want to think just because there's masses of people that there's going to be a mass hysteria or a mass, a mass.
No, it's not the mass hysteria. It's just, there's statistically speaking, there's going to be more people that are going to do stupid shit because there's just more people, Back when there was the largest town in the United States was 50 people. You still had your village idiot. You still had that one kid that you knew was killing people's cats and chickens, and he was probably going to grow up to do something stupid. Well, how big is the country now? And then add in every other country and every other religion that's blown right out of proportion, and more shit's going to go wrong,
This had nothing to do with boredom, in my opinion. I mean, the George Floyd thing was ridiculous, and there's like 10 other manners, and to be honest, an unlimited amount of other exact instances where the police, law enforcement was negligent against an African American, but like that. Now, I don't know. I'm neither here nor there, but I've been pulled over before for having a black dude in my car, so that was preposterous, doing the speed limit of no wrongdoing and having him walk up to the window and be like, "Can you get out of the car, please?" Yeah, sure, whatever you want, officer. Walk to the back, smile on my face, and he's like, "Are you safe?" I'm like, "What? Excuse me? One more time?" That was it was just ridiculous. And then, I mean, statistics, you may listen to them, you may not, but like there's some ones that really bother me when it comes to black versus white. One of the biggest ones is like babies. like an African American woman in the hospital compared to a white or even just people who weren't African American. It was like over a 200% ratio that they would be more likely to not get help in an emergency than someone of another color. And like that, they did stereotypes, like studies, and like this was not like 10 people and 9 of them did this, so that's the truth. This was a lot of research done, and then it just in that instance that's appalling. Like if you're, I don't know. I don't have the answers,
Most
but
definitely.
I mean, fucking, have you seen how many riots there are? If you guys didn't learn about the bombs, you definitely don't go on Reddit every day. So, like, there's been riots every day, at least during August and the beginning of September. It was every day. And I can't imagine it stopped. Like, I doubt, like, I don't watch the news, so I just go on Reddit. But, I mean, are people still rioting right now? Is that a thing right now? Yeah, nay?
I have not a clue. I'm pretty sure Spencer fell asleep.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I do not watch syndicated news. I do not watch any live news feeds. I usually kind of read it, my news, obviously. And the time that I read it is usually in the past, not in the present moment. So I can't tell you any riots that happened recently. I apologize for not having an answer for your question.
I didn't need your apology, but thank you for being respectful. So fine. We'll skip all my fancy prancy dancy yippity doo ha subjects. What do you
All
guys?
right, so hold on.
What do y'all want to talk about?
Oh,
Let's talk
Let's
about
go
the
with one
fake
of the-
resolutions we always make every year. What's that one resolution that we always say to ourselves we're going to do, and then like we find ourselves in less than 24 hours breaking it?
It would have been quitting cigarettes, but I haven't had one in like 9 months. So going.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, no, still feel like shit, so I'm getting there.
Cheers. Good.
I love cigarettes. I like their taste. They're all in all, it's a placebo stress reliever. I thought it helped, and I still think it helps, but I don't think it helps. So
Honestly, I'm
it
so
actually
happy to stop smoking
does.
it. It's like the taste is awful. It smells awful. Like I remember being a kid, it smelled like a nice like fireplace. Now it's just like, what the hell is that stench? And I don't know. I guess there's a certain novelty behind cigarettes that is long gone as you get older. And right now it's just like, why the fuck am I smoking this? I can barely breathe right now every inhaling chance I get with this cigarette.
see, I
At least
think,
that's how I felt about it back then.
yeah, and it's definitely not glorified today like it was, in previous decades.
Yeah.
It's still in America. It's still more glorified than any other country. I mean, like other countries. I don't have a bulletin board full of names, but with a quick Google search of non-U.S. cigarette packs, they have pictures of baby fetuses and that old guy in the wheelchair on dialysis, the fucking giant hole in your throat. Like they have images that make you repulsed enough that if you were sitting at a picnic table and looked down at your pack, you wouldn't grab one.
Some places are like that, not all over. Like for instance, when I was living in Dubai, it was just basically it was all in Arabic, explaining that you should not be smoking this cigarette or this pack of cigarettes, and that like it had like kind of like almost a little manual of what it would do inside your lungs. But like you never gave like twice of a thought about it. There wasn't that picture of like somebody bedridden with like tubes coming out of their chest, like something out of Chernobyl. It was just like, hey, don't smoke. And then when you smoke this cigarette, it's not like a cigarette you ever had before because the cigarettes you smoke in the US are the most probably lethal cigarettes you'll ever smoke. I guarantee the cigarettes you smoke outside of the United States are better for you than the shit that you actually smoke in the United States, okay? Like when I would smoke like Marlboro Reds out there, and it was like nothing like I've ever tasted before. Like I couldn't get that nicotine feeling. You know how you just suck that first cigarette and you get that really good taste of nicotine. You're like, oh, it hits the spot.
It's not just nicotine.
No, it's not just nicotine. Like there's a goddamn 1,000 other things plus MSG. But what I'm trying to point at is that I find it really funny how like outside of this country somehow the cigarettes are actually normal tasting as opposed to when you're in here and you could taste the MSG that they obviously put into those cigarettes. And don't get me wrong, they make it very tasty.
I never smoked out of the country, or anything, that was made out of the country like that, so I really couldn't tell you. I do know there was a distinct difference between rolling your own and buying a pack of cigarettes with a filter on it.
Yeah, man, drums.
I used to smoke Bugler because that was what my stepfather smoked.
Far out. Those are the ones that actually came with papers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were nice. They're like, here's some papers, buddy. And then you're like, thank you. And then it's like you make like a quarter of a cigarette. It's like a kind of like a penny cigarette you're making.
Yeah. Oh, I was sitting
I love cigarettes.
I got this notepad full of shit that every once in a while I look down at when I'm looking for a topic. And even if it's a topic I've already talked about, I can pull something from it just randomly. But I wrote one earlier that I'm honestly curious, solely due to the differences in ages between us. So I'm curious. This isn't a 2020 phenomenon, though it's increasing more and more year by year. Before I say a word about what I think, let me, preface anything else I say by I don't even know what I fucking think. But what do you guys think about the whole transgender thing and like the non-binary and the binary and the gender identities? And these are all kind of different topics. They're all kind of big enough they deserve to be talked about by themselves. But what do you guys think of that? You know what I mean? Like overall, you know what I mean? Like you both have a kid and in 3 years or 5 years or 7 years or 9 years, whenever who you like comes into play, they decide that they're one of these non-standardized versions of society. What's your moves? What do you guys think? Just, I'm just curious about the topic in general. You're both older men, and if I were to psychically read both of you before you say anything, you're not with it. It's fucking weird. And let me double up on that. It's fucking weird. So take your pitches. I'm just, if I were to guess.
Well, as a child of the 70s and the early 80s, I'm going to say that stereotypically, you're absolutely right, but I'm kind of on the fence about it. I mean, I don't know that I necessarily agree with it. I don't really believe in the Christian God, so I can't tell you, oh, well, that's how God made you. You should stay that way. I'm like, whatever. If this is what you really feel, then this is what you really feel. I'm going to say you better make damn sure, because it's not an easy switch there, and it's definitely not an easy switch back if that's how you're going to roll with it. But I am also going to say all this shit about, young teenagers, preteens, whatever, deciding that they want to be the opposite sex. No. Your body has not stopped developing yet. You kind of need to shut the fuck up. And your parents need to tell you straight up that no, your body hasn't even stopped developing yet. You can have those thoughts and think what you want to think, but there's no way that this is even a possibility. You need to stop developing. You need to become an adult before you change what you are or think about changing what you are.
Okay. I just wanted to write down a bullet point so I don't lose the thing I'm going to talk about. Spencer, go ahead and give your side, and then I'm gonna sum up my side, his side, and your side.
All right, can you just sum up the question again, please?
Giving
just
himself ammo is what he's doing.
I'm not giving you ammo. I just don't want to forget the proper.
Yourself
You
ammo.
said you mother.
You're loading the gun. There's a bullet.
I gotta write down what you said. I might have already forgot.
Even better.
The third party questioner, my judgment of writing shit down. Oh no. Okay. No, that was you actually, Christopher, landed in quite a appropriate area, if I were to say beforehand. But anyways, go ahead and shoot, Spencer. And the question would be, and there's obviously no weight. Like we have a few hundred or a few thousand people who listen to this, and I highly doubt any of them are people who have the uh, ability to affect your life based on your position of this. Uh, if you think otherwise, then by all means, inhibit what you say. But
Surprised, but I'm still not going to inhibit what I say because
I'm not, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, and it's not what I don't give a fuck about. It's just what I feel. I'm gonna say what I feel, and if that happens, it's I had to. I actually we got on a side note. We got on a new podcast website this week for guests. It's very professional. I have a profile for our show, and I get to reach out to professionals like producers and movie makers and all these like legit pro people who had to get approved to be on the platform, and I get to send them a little blurb, send them a message or two, and then they choose whether or not they come on the show. So if I let you guys know I got a message, the website's approved my message to them. They've approved my message in general, and they've agreed to already come on the show. And I had to sign a few contracts stating we wouldn't require money, and then we would, be willing to promote them, and I had to all this crap. But nonetheless, really fucking cool. One step above Reddit, so we're gonna get some like legitimate, cool ass fucking people in here, professional chefs who have owned, Michelin star restaurants. If I know Spencer can go off on that, and who doesn't eat,
food.
we can all talk about food.
I
And
like food.
movie producers, we can all talk about movies. So some really cool things. But
Speaking of movies,
before we get there, let's let's no, I'm just as an adult, when you were a kid, transgender wasn't a thing. Maybe it was a thing, but it wasn't, hey mom, I'm not a boy or a girl, or I'm both, or I'm there wasn't a thing or and anything.
gay was a thing, but most people were homophobic or down with it. It was. I was kind of right in the middle. I don't know if that I was ever homophobic. I've had gay friends even back then.
No, I'm with you. I'm
Um,
curious what Spencer thinks about the trans thing, and then I want to give my view of what a scientist says, and it partially leans towards what you said, Chris. But I'm just curious, what do you think, Spencer, as far as the trans thing? Do you think, I don't want to give you labels like A, B, or one or two, because
I
then
already gave him a label. It's Jedi Master.
Okay, but what is the question? I hear like all these judges pop up, but like, what's the whole question right there?
no, I'm not building framework. I'm just asking you what you're. Usually, people have an opinion loaded about this. This is a pretty,
What's my opinion of it? Okay, whatever. Who cares? I love you just the way you are. Whatever you want to do, great. What do you need? Do you need new clothes? Is that what we need to do to make you feel better? Let's go out and do it. What needs to make you feel better? Let's go do it. Like, I don't see what the big deal is. It's like, it's their life. Who cares? Love it. Have fun. Do what you want.
Okay, no, I completely agree with you. But so now let me be the devil's advocate here, just to because you took a side in a way, not that it was a bad side. So in the extent and the confines of the way you described what you feel in that sense, everyone, do you, even at the cost of health.
What do you mean by the cost of health?
Well, I wrote
Elaborate.
I wrote up this paper that I actually, is this it? Damn, I'm on top of shit.
Are we talking about like the health is in like safe sex? Then like, yes, I'm all for safe sex.
No. How did you segue to safe sex? No. I love you, brother. But no. What I mean is, so like I have here,
I have an image of two safe bumping uglies.
I have a list of things that we can talk about in a second. But what I'm curious about is like I said, the general understanding, and you responded with what you said, paraphrasing, of course. You said that as long as people are happy and healthy, that's good. So my question is, if it so let me give you I didn't want to give you a distinct question, because that limits the confines to your ability to answer in your most general vague way. But in the confines of you asking, if it's everyone do what you want, be happy, be healthy, whatever is right. What if what if Sally is 6 years old and she is seeing reports? She was given a phone at 5, and so she has a phone. She knows how to use it. And so she is now she's in groups of people who aren't identifying as male or female. And so now we're running into a problem, and I'll preface, I'll say my side now, just to loop you into the science part of it. But so there was a scientist on Joe Rogan who talked a lot about this, and gender dysmorphia or dysphoria. It's one of those. I'm not a fucking scientist, but the you not feeling comfortable in your skin based on your gender is a serious fucking problem. It's the equivalent of you having a shoe that's 5 sizes too big or small. And you have to wear it. At least if you have the wrong size shoe, you opt to not wear it because it doesn't fit. It's too small, or it's too big and it's too dangerous, so you don't wear it.
Yeah, but you gotta tell me the shoe doesn't fit so I know what to do.
Well, but that's the thing. Mentally, if you're a 6-year-old who's a girl, but you're inhibited by social cues, and so you want to go play basketball, but all your girls who are friends want to play dolls, and so now it's like, okay, you're pressured into not being a girl when you're a girl to play basketball. And this may be a long shot reference, but I'm just saying there is a heavy amount of people at below 10 and between 10 and between 20 who want to be a boy or a girl when they in fact are not. I don't think that's a problem overall. I think at the age that they're thinking it can severely impair their future, their cognitive coalescence, their ability to make 1 + 1 = 2 in their identity inside. And that's all based on the scientist who said this. But it's like if you're 20, if you're 19, you're an adult, or 21, whatever the legal age of you and being an adult in your state is, and you don't feel comfortable in your skin. You get bullied being a girl, you get bullied being a guy, you don't like having to dress up as a girl, and you don't like having to have to act tough as a guy, whatever, and you swap your gender and you swap everything. That is healthy. If you needed it, if you I agree with you. You and Chris are both right. Kind of whatever. Like, you do you to here to there to there. But this stuff is like fucking 20, 50. When I went to school, this wasn't a thing. I didn't know one transgender person in school.
Was it because they didn't feel comfortable about coming out though? And times were different in your era?
That may be so, but what it comes down to now is the era has changed so much that that's a category. So
no, it's not that a category. It's no longer a hushed up thing not to talk about, and now it's finally a comfortable thing to talk about. Like, you should have that free space to talk. Like, you should be comfortable as a child developing and growing up to feel like you have a space, a person that you, or a group of people that you could go to and say, hey, I feel like this. And you should be welcomed with all arms. And the fact that we're hushing up about something and that it wasn't a product of your time or somebody else's time is because the times that was happening, we were just too ignorant to really realize the difference.
I agree with you based on the time period, but my question still stands. If being happy is the outcome, and you're not an adult, and you truly are not comfortable in your skin,
mm-hmm.
or your gender, metaphorically speaking,
mm-hmm.
what is the third party? What is the third party's job? I'm dad, okay? I've got Sally as my daughter. My daughter or son comes home. Let's even forget about the age. My son or daughter comes home, and they've learned that some people kind of feel like they're just not right. And they explain to me in a kid's way that they think they're a different gender. They think they're a different sex. And I explain to them that, in fact, in today's society and in society in general, that's a thing. I'm not saying encouraging it's a bad thing, because I'm not a fucking scientist. But there's people who at 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, or whatever the age you may be, get locked into this. They're a boy who is a girl, and so they're trans. And that's, like I said, I'm with you. I'm with both of you. If that's what you want, I'm impartial. I don't give a fuck. You do you. Carpe diem, live it up to the fullest. Don't worry about tomorrow. But if you're contemplating becoming a different gender before double digits, because it's happening and it's happened. Like, you know, Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts used to not accept the opposite sex, but now with transgender things, that's a big lawsuit. You accept whoever the fuck we tell you. Okay. Like, so it's the rules have just changed. Like, Boy Scouts are not Boy Scouts, they're the Scouts. And same with the Girl Scouts. It's the rules have changed.
But yes, you could change that and make it the Scouts and combine them all.
MMA fighters, okay? I would tell you it's unfair genetically for a male to fight a female. But if I'm a male who says I'm a female and feels like I'm a female, I can change my gender, change sports, and fight in female MMA, fight in female basketball, or play in female basketball. And that's existing everywhere. There's men breaking female records, what females have worked their entire life to achieve in the Olympics and in sports and in professional athletics. And they're getting shattered by the average male because our genetics are just not the same. The average male is 75% better at most things women do. And that's, we didn't choose our cognitive function and our hand-eye ability. It just is how it is. If I could trade some of my, you know, affluency for this to them, I would. I can't. Sorry. You know, I didn't create the system. But it's pretty fucked up that and I'm going to say this in a non-correct way, an ex-male can get in the MMA ring with a female and fight. You know, like that to me is like, holy shit. Like, this is a dude who has testosterone firing through him and he's on estrogen injections. You know what I mean? Like, he may truly believe he's a female. I'm not saying that's wrong. He may really actually need to be one to be his happiest self. Still not against it. That's not wrong. But the fact that he gets to compete against actual women as a genetic man, X or not, past or present, A or B, one or two, to me, that's wrong. Like, there needs to be an application that says male or female. And currently it's male, female, or non-binary. And non-binary covers like the 16 or 18 or 20 other genders that exist right now, if you guys are unaware. And so in that same context, it's like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Because it's a lawsuit waiting to happen. If I say I'm a different sex, say it vocally in front of someone who I know will not tolerate it, and they put their hands on me, like, that's bigotry, that's hate speech, that's every lawyer working for you for free because they're gonna get their commission from the fucking lawsuit money. You know, and like that's 2020, that's 2021, baby. I'm not even fucking with you. If you hear someone in the mall be like, I'm gay, don't insult me, and there's someone yelling at him, cops will be there in a minute, and it ain't the gay guy getting arrested. So, you know, and I don't know. The world's just crazy right now, and I brought this up just because I was thinking of topics to talk about, and I'm neither here nor there, but I'm not, like, we just don't know where this is gonna go when I'm you guys' age. You know what I'm saying? And when you guys are getting pushed around by me in our mansion in the wheelchair. So, you know, I don't know where this is gonna go. We might. What if we all become robots? You know what I'm saying? Like, we weren't fine with just male or female. What's the next step? But
wait,
no.
I kind of got lost with you, Rich. In the beginning, you were talking about like little Jane, little Joey, talking about how they don't feel comfortable in their body at pre-teenage to fighting in the ring, and I'm just confused. Where did
What
you
it comes down to is
athletes?
there are different gray areas. There's so many different aspects to this because on on a broad general platform, okay, yeah, whatever. This person wants to be that. They identify as this. This one identifies as male. This one identifies as female. This one identifies as both. This one identifies as a tree. Whatever. Okay. The problems arise when, one, I understand what Ricky's talking about, because what he's talking about is, okay, we just let this kind of go and say, yes, all right, you were a male, you now identify as a female, you had the surgeries, you're this, you're that. Okay, you're a female now. Great. We let you go compete in a female sport when your physiology, the way you were born, has not changed. You have different genitals and you're taking estrogen shots. You are still physically, physiologically male. Now, not being sexist, but there's a reason that the majority of physical sports, physical athletes, the records, men hold the higher numbers all the way down the line. There's a reason for that. It's because of the physiology. When you start letting guys become girls and then compete in female sports, they just fucked over every female in that sport. Period. End of discussion. Really, I kind of agree with Ricky there. That just straight up shouldn't happen. You want to be female? Fine, be female.
No,
You're
but
still physiologically male at the roots.
let me respond to Spencer here. So, I mean, I did my typical tangent procedure of talking about 19 subjects with different conclusions, but quickly summarize. It is massively unhealthy for someone younger than, say, let's give it a number like 15 at least, to be contemplating which gender is correct. You're not old enough to understand society. You think you are, but it's not a matter of what I think.
You're not even old enough to understand your own body yet.
No, but
let me wait. Let me ask a question to expedite this. What kind of doctor do you think will be sane enough to prescribe estrogen shots to a teenager at 15? Like, no sane doctor is really going to do that. Like, I don't think them being enough to like obtaining get something like that to get something like that. I think at one point, like, you gotta just if you're the adults talking to your child and they feel like this, I think you should fully support your child and what they want to do as long as it's not really harming anybody else, and support them in what they want to do. And if they feel that they want to be some kind of other gender, just be like, listen, I'll make a deal with you. If you feel this way when you're 18 years old, you can go out there and do whatever you want. I suggest you just keep trying it out up until you get 18 and get a feel for things. Because when you're young, you're not so sure. And then when you get older, you're like, hey, I probably like this toy. And it's just like, you got to work into who you are. Well, you got to work yourself. And I think you got to work with yourself within before you can work on the exterior of things. And I think if you can negotiate something like that with the kid, that there shouldn't be any problem at all.
No, I agree with you, but and it's maybe a generational gap here, but there's like a big difference here. The suicide rate of a transvest of a person who is not male or female standard gender is like over 100% higher, like literally, because
because they have no place to talk to, because they feel like they can't open up and be who they are, right? Well, because their family's probably like making them feel like they're not like loved or whatever, or it's just or their neighborhood.
No, for sure, and it's a bunch of factors, but it comes to it's a plethora of issues, and so it's not a well, here's A and here's B and it's simple, but it's a problem for young kids to be thinking things like it's a very diverse issue. It's you can't go back on that. Okay, so like if at 5 and 6 you're getting secondhand smoke imprints of becoming a different gender just because you didn't understand social cues correctly because of something totally different than your gender being different. People grow at different rates. Your mind grows at different rates. Some people are just socially awkward. They may have a master's degree, but they're just socially awkward. That had nothing to do with their poor genetics or their predisposition to be socially awkward. And maybe it does, but still, at the end of the day, they can't help they're socially awkward. And a socially awkward person can't talk to you or I and sense the cues you and I can. Like when you're awkward and you're reluctant, you're like, I'm like, oh, no, wait. And I start backpedaling. They can't sense that. So you go, and they're just looking at you dead eyed. And you know what I mean? There's certain things that don't get relayed. And in that same exact way, the things that gender is not something that can be relayed. Like it's the inner, like when I was growing up, I never heard the words, you could be a different gender. I studied philosophy. I understood that you could be a god in your mind. That to me wasn't foreign. But the fact that I could be a woman because I felt like I was a woman, that to me was quite foreign. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but the real nit and grit of this is you get imprinted at a young age with this, and then you pass through a few years being whatever you are happy to be, and then you get a surgery and you become something else, and years progress, and you get to my age, 26, and you realize you made a mistake because mentally, chemically, genetically, you are still what you were born as. And that has nothing to do with carpe diem or I hope you're happy when you lay in bed at night. A lot of us aren't happy when we lay in bed at night. We have to work really hard to get happy, and we didn't ask for that, but you have two choices: give up or work hard, and it's not the polite side of things, but it's pretty accurate. And after all I'm saying is after listening to scientists and listening to the way the media handles this and the way the Boy Scouts handle this and the way all the organizations that when I grew up were not like this are now like this, I believe we should have a bathroom that is not male or female. But think about the mere infrastructure of that in a building that has 0 square footage to offer, especially in the bathroom area. 100% maximum occupancy. What do you expect them to do? Like, the money on the pure infrastructure. Google how many businesses with bathrooms exist in America. Whatever that half-baked kind of accurate number is, times that by the amount of money it would cost to build the most minimally expensive bathroom. And it's like, okay, so it's a pretty expensive issue. And now we're only talking about bathrooms. We're not talking about anything else. And neurologically and there's a big problem too, because there's certain chemicals and studies and understandings that have to do with who you are and what you are, that if, when you come to my doctor's office, you write you're a female, and let's say that you were a slightly female looking male before transition, and then you transition and now you're a fucking drop dead 10 female, that doesn't help the doctor with his diagnosis. So when he's, listening to your symptoms, he's hearing hoofbeats, not zebra hoof. And if he knew you were a female, he may go, oh, well, this is a simple estrogen, lack of efficiency here. And but that's what would cause your symptoms. But because testosterone, estrogen function similarly, but are not the same, hence one supports having a child and one supports, hair growth and muscle growth. Like they they work as a precursor and as a hormone, to my understanding, in kind of the same way, but they're not the same. And so 9 out of 10 times, the science that comes down to the medicine that would matter, whether you're a male or female, 9 out of 10 times doesn't matter. But the 1 out of 10 times when they're like, oh, well, you have a massive issue, you're paying tens of thousands of dollars for a specialist. If the first sentence isn't, well, I've transitioned, it's really hard for people who are, of the science of two genders to tell you an answer. I don't know, just something that sorry, I had a ball in my throat, but no, it just, I don't know. I find it quite interesting, and I'm curious about how I will handle this in the coming years, because it's not if my daughter asks me what this is, it's when my daughter asks me what this is. Like there will be a day when my daughter says, hey, I have a friend who is a boy, but she has boobs. What does this mean, Dad or Mom? Like what the fuck is the answer to that question? Like, do I just say, oh, they're trans? It's simple. They think they're this, but they're this. Any true philosopher can tell you that you can lay the precursor to a thought. I can tell you a sentence that had nothing to do with what I'm trying to get you to think or talk about, but it laid the groundwork for you to get there. It's like they say weed is a gateway drug. I mean, it may or may not be. I don't know all the science, but I can tell you that it, like in V for Vendetta, a thought cannot be erased. An idea cannot be killed, so
I can just spell it out one right now. There's no science behind weed as a gateway drug. Their science behind that is theoretically, and according to these people that say things like that, if you're selling weed, you're selling other stuff too. So if somebody's buying weed from you, they have the possibility to buy something else, and you can turn them on to something else. When in fact, more often than not, if you're selling weed, you don't want anything to do with any of that other shit, because why? But that's the whole the naysayers. I don't know if you're going to call them the left or the right, but whichever. That's why they call it a gateway drug, because supposedly, if you're selling weed, you're selling harder stuff too.
No, I understand that too. But so, before we touch on this next thing that I want to talk about, either you guys have any things you want to double back on things we spoke about as of now?
Or are you going to let one of us talk about something now?
Oh, that was a good one. No, seriously. Do you guys have anything else you want to touch on that stuff before we segue into something else?
Well, since I'm tired of serious and or depressing shit for the moment, I don't know if either one of you seen it or have any desire to see it, but I got my son a couple of movies for his birthday, which, day after Christmas. That's really hard on a parent sometimes, but that's absolutely fine. It's what it is. It kind of sucks for him too, because he doesn't get anything in the middle of the year. It's all in one shot, and then he's done for a year. 363 more days before you get another one. But so I got him Sonic because he's the Sonic fan, and shit, I've been playing Sonic since I was a kid, like the Sega Genesis and whatever. So I got it for him, and he watched it, and he loved it, and he said, "Here, Dad, you haven't seen this yet? Here you go." All right. So I started watching it. It was actually a really, really good movie. It was a little iffy about Jim Carrey as Dr. Eggman or Dr. Robotnik, because I don't know. I think he was a little bit over the top and definitely not nearly round enough.
I liked it. I like Jim Carrey. I'm biased though. Jim Carrey could have been a cucumber when he was supposed to be an actual person, and I would have been like, I love it. So I'm the right.
Pickle Rick.
No, I thought that was a great movie. Did you end up seeing that movie, Spencer?
Sonic?
Yeah.
No.
Good one. I don't know. Here or there. Maybe you'll hate it. Maybe you'll like it.
Right.
Well, I'll leave it up to you guys. What do you guys what do you want the mood to be? I can surely dig up any connotation for any subject you guys want. I got some stuff here I wrote that I've talked about. I talked about on another podcast actually, a little bit, and it's definitely in Christopher's definition of sad and grr type stuff. I'm a realist,
So
man.
why are you even bothering?
I'm sitting here trying
to bum me out before bed? What the hell?
I don't know, man. I'm not trying to bum anyone out, but so no, I was doing some research, and I was studying my realtor's book and listening to Joe Rogan and playing a game that was like a one tap per like 3 minutes, so it was very easy, and writing down some of this stuff. And so I was just thinking about parts in my life, and my title for this is called Lively Trades. So things that things that aren't talked about. I've never heard someone describe these things I wrote down to me. No one was ever like, "Hey, Richard, was there ever a time in your life where you knew the laws and you knew the rules, but you, for the mere safety of your life, or you for the mere option to think it was more safer for you, are you willing to break the laws?" And that's the top one I have: laws for safety. So that's a lively trade. If you have 3 people running at you with knives, you may contemplate, even though the laws of defense and offense and fighting don't legally provide you to shoot them right away, you might decide to make the decision I would make, which would be to Mozambique 2 to the chest, 1 to the head of each of the people, reload your gun just in case they have friends, and then grab one of their knives without putting fingerprints on it and cut yourself and be like, "They ran up, they cut me, and I put them down," and then just double check for security cameras. But that's my choice. And that's because I'm willing to, even if I fuck up, and by fuck up, I mean there was a camera that caught me do that, and I didn't have the legal precedent to shoot them, even though I knew they would have killed me, given there's a 21-foot rule that not a lot of people know about. If you're within 21 feet, I have the right. That's the rule. That's a cop's rule. 21 feet. You think that's far? Imagine a human running full strut with 6'3" legs like me. 21 feet ain't far. I can stab you pretty quick, bro. Before you can even draw and aim at me, I can have a knife in you, and that's how cops rule. And I grew up that way. So, in my mind, when I hear loud footsteps, I just turn, and I'm aware of that 21-foot rule. I don't want to be on the offense, but I don't want to, miss an opportunity to defend myself. So I literally know people who would tell you to your face, I'm such a pacifist that if someone were to try to kill me, I'd let them, because that's what they chose. What? Oh, that ain't me. Like, if you try to, I'm gonna kill you lineage. I'm gonna break your whole family tree in half. Like, no, we're not doing that. Like, and that.
No.
So like that's a condition that I've been thinking of quite heavily. Like, how many laws in my life have I, I'm driving through an intersection once in my Eclipse, my first car, and I saw a dump truck blowing a red light, and I was in the middle of the intersection. I was already doing the speed limit. I'm not allowed to break the speed limit under any circumstance. I fucking threw my car in second gear and almost blew my motor, fucking red line, 9,000 RPMs, and got my car out of the intersection. And I swear to God, within a tractor trailer's distance of getting railed over by a guy who went through a solid red light with a dually dump truck fully loaded with a full trailer with an excavator on it. And, I don't need to know his excuse to know that if I wasn't paying attention, I was literally dead. Like, I was in the intersection, coming up through it, light green, put it in first, boop, second, boop, third, right in the middle of the intersection. I looked, and he was fucking a school bus away from me. Fucking what? Second, what? But it was like, if I was I can't brake. I mean, I look down, I'm 30 miles an hour. I can't go faster than that. Am I really supposed to put that law before my safety? Or is there a change in precedence? If there's a change in precedence, what else can it apply to? And then you get into the slippery slope of how many other circumstances could fit in that. And I just came up with a lot of those, like, I had health for sanity. You know what I mean? Like, I would like to be healthy, but I don't think it's that sane, the level of commitment that you have to put into trying to be healthy. Like, between vitamins and proper intake of a diet and working out, if you want to reach 75 years old with enough muscle to, really go do a workout competition and not get frowned upon, like, you're trading some sanity for that, man. Every one of my hobbies in my life has taken a severe amount of my mental processing power to work on and to live with and carry around. And so, that was one. Chemicals for stress. I used to be a drug addict. The amount of times that I decided to do a substance instead of dealing with my problems, I didn't in my head think of it that way, but that's what I was doing. I don't know. That's a lot of shit I've been, a lot of shit I've been running around. Can you guys think of any times where, you willingly broke the law, for a manner of safety, which I think, is we don't need to talk about right and wrong morality, but I think if you're doing it for safety, that's a pretty just cause.
I got nothing.
Nothing?
So I live in Vermont. I've gone through more than one red light because it was just straight up ice. And the only other option was to hit somebody else or a curb or a telephone pole.
All right, so let me give you guys a more generic one, since y'all don't want to fucking have a deep Plato level conversation. What about friends for family? There's definitely been a time in you guys' life where you guys chose someone who was not blood for someone who was blood. Or, I mean, I said that backwards. But so you chose a friend over someone who was a family member.
I grew up watching The Godfather. There's no such thing.
Oh, so blood.
Family is more than blood.
Okay. Oh, shit. All right.
You're living proof of that. Why would you even ask me that shit?
I'm trying to create elegant conversation, my good friend. And
Why?
I'm trying. I'm just kidding. I'm having fun. This is stuff that is definitely not. It's a hit or miss type of thing. The podcast I brought this stuff up on, the context of it was science and existentiality and the paradigms of society in which I could use 7 other giant words to describe. So it just fit.
Half of which you probably can't even spell.
No, without spells.
Shots fired.
No, I see it. Yeah, I don't know how to spell. I'm not perfect, but No, it's hard, bro. I love talking about philosophy and then stuff like that. It's not an everyone thing, you know. Like
No, I know. You argued with me one day that water isn't wet. I mean,
I'll still argue with
it's,
you right here, bro. We can go all day.
I'll
Grammatically,
still just tell you you're not playing with a full deck, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
I'll,
No, it's all good. We love you just the way you are. You wouldn't be you otherwise.
I'll give you my 10 cents in 10 seconds or less. Okay, so if you were to jump in water and be fully submerged in water, 100%, there is no part of you to reference dryness. Okay. And now skipping the fact that language is the only way we talk about things, okay? In English, it's grammatically incorrect to say someone is all wet. 100%. That is incorrect. If you type all wet on your keyboard right now, you're going to get a red squiggly. And you want to know why that is? Because it's grammatically incorrect. As much
It's
as it is physically incorrect. If you have a drop of water on you, you are wet in that spot because that is not the rest of you. And even though that may be not straightforward, it is it I believe it is true because you know what I mean? It is the inside of a water bottle that's holding the water wet. No, it's a bottle that's 100% full of water, unless you want to argue with me about that little fucking half inch of air, which I know you would have. But, so water can make things wet due to its ability to reference the dryness. But if you're 100% submerged in water, you can't go, yo, my homie Ricky's all wet. You can, but you're not going to pass your literary conference later that evening. That's all I'm saying. So, that's what I have to bring to the table. But,
to wind him up, let him go.
So here's my question of the hour. When do you guys usually take down your Christmas ornaments?
I took down my tree today.
Took down your tree today. Now let me ask you something. How long does it take down the Christmas tree? And how long does it take to actually see that Christmas tree no longer being in front of your driveway?
No, you misunderstand. Our living space is small enough that my Christmas tree took long enough to pull it out of the base, unplug the base, put the base in the bottom, wrap up the cord for the plug, put that in the bottom, shove the tree in there, bend the top down, and close the top of the box.
Oh, you get a fake tree is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's kind of cool though
What
because the
color is
bottom
it?
has. Well, that's the thing. It's green, but it's got these microfilaments all the way through it.
Word.
So what the base does when you plug it in, it rotates different colors around the inside of the base that go up through the middle of the tree and then come out the branches. So it kind of looks like it's got these filaments in different places. So it looks like it's got little lights all over it and they change colors.
Does it sing too?
Nope.
Does it sing too?
Nope. Just it's
No. That's pretty cool. It's nice that it gives you a little light show.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Rich? What do you got? Are you a classy guy? You go for the menorah.
I've never really had a preference. I mean, growing up at least, I mean, lots of people around me planted trees and did ornaments and stuff like that. But I mean, from 15 on, I was kind of like my own adult. And I was more worried about, I wasn't even worried about teeth brushing. So, like, to say I cared about what fucking tree was up is a joke. But being an adult and having an apartment and having a daughter, we did have a tree this year. But it literally came down to no bullshit in January, paid all my bills on like the first week of January and was utterly broke. And I called my grandmother and was like, "What do you think? Should I slap together a stick from outside and hit it with some lights, or do you have some old stuff you can send to me?" And she was like, "Oh, I've got this old tree I can send to you, whatever." And it was a 2-piece, fucking 5 foot, cute, lights already on it. I put one more strand of lights around it and bought 30 ornaments from Walmart, but $50 or less was the route I was going, and we're gonna use the same setup next year. It was a big deal to have with my daughter having a tree, and I see that now. I didn't before, but that was a big deal of it. and I'm happy we did. But yeah, frankly, I mean, if I didn't have a kid, I wouldn't even give a fuck at all. Like we have Christmas lights on the ceiling year round.
Yeah.
So they're just useful lights that are really cheap.
Nice.
Our kitchen's purple. We're on our
Well,
we're on our second yearly lease, and we just have a set of purple lights that have been strung up with tacks amongst the ceiling of the kitchen, and I mean, probably 15% of the bulbs are out by now because it's just been on without ever being unplugged for fucking a year and a half now. But it's just it's super cheap, you know. But yeah, I took it down yesterday.
so, all right. So everyone kind of does it right after the new year.
Yeah, I guess there was no thought involved. My girl was in the bathroom, and I looked at the tree once, and I went, I'm gonna have to go down to storage and clean my storage out. And I was trying to be advantageous about my future cleaning, so I was like, if I get the tree done, I'm gonna have a reason to clean my storage out. So I just pulled it down. And my girl got out of the shower and was like, "You pulled the tree down. I wanted to do it." And I was like, "Well, already done."
There you go. There you go.
What about you? Did you put a tree up? Did you take it down? Where are you at?
No tree this year. We have no room in our apartment to really put a tree that made sense unless we were going to go for the bedroom. And then we just felt that was weird. So I just pretty much made a village and, kind of got a lot of inspiration from Batman Returns on that one. And, just kind of just called that my little Christmas decoration for the day or for the month, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I got the little Funko like pop dolls thingies, so I kind of just find imaginative ways to make them all look pretty.
No, I'm with you. I had a dude give me shit because I have 2 Funkos right here. The rest of these are the things that came in my daughter's McDonald's Happy Meals, like all Marvel toys and shit. And I was like, these are dope. Fucking Iron Man and the Hulk from the Thor planet, the 3rd Thor movie.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know. I was just like that. You know, I literally got them for free, and the nostalgia of the movies was worth just not throwing them away. And I was like, thank you, Estelle. I'll take this. Whoop, my daughter. But yeah, no, I've got Kirito and then Ed from 2 different animes I watch, and
That's awesome.
I love them, man. They're such cool dolls. I went through the entire
Right?
website. There was like 500 or 300 or X amount of hundreds of pages, and I individually read every name of every doll and clicked through every doll because there was no section for like I typed in my top 10 favorite animes, and they had dolls that existed, but it didn't come up when I Googled them. So
Yeah.
it was weird. But yeah, no, I looked at their whole website. Great company. Definitely not going away anytime soon. You know,
No, they've been around for at least a good decade now.
you were on the we had 4 you were on the show with the guy from what would
Wall.
Seamus do with the whole wall?
Yeah.
No, that guy's been wicked nice. He's supported our channel a bunch of times, and we've talked back and forth a few times.
That guy's cool beats.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of cool people that I really can't wait to be going back and forth with, you know, and growing a podcast is pretty cool, you know, especially getting experts and diving into their audience and stuff. This is really cool. But I endlessly feel like I need more podcasts. Like the podcast that I got, you know, I had loaded in the chamber to start secondary to this one. The other at this point was like, man, life, bro. So many, you know, he had a problem with his one of his secondary companies, like a private company, not his 9 to 5, and a bunch of other, you know, just life things, you know, you can't be mad at it. But so that fell through. And I had this teacher reach out to me, and she wanted to start a show to talk about a whole bunch of science stuff, and she needed someone who was really good at being the devil's advocate and, you know, comedic and serious and basically like a bunch of things that were antithesis to each other. Like she wanted A and B, not just A or B. She wanted you to be able to say A and then fight yourself. So, you know, it would have worked out, but that kind of died. So I don't know. I see the biggest opportunity for podcasts in the next 15 years. You know, I don't know what other people think, but I can tell you that the 2 podcasts I listen to every day, or at least one of them, is rolling every day. Like every time I'm driving, I have an AirPod in, opposing my daughter and my girl, music or podcast. If I'm with people, it's usually music, but if I'm alone, it's a podcast on the stereo. Every time I do dishes, podcast on the windowsill, 100% of the time. Every time I'm in the shower, phone in the Ziploc bag, speaker in the shower, full ability to watch the vidcast like we have and listen to a podcast like that. I take in, I swear to God, at least on my slow day, 6 hours of content a day, like on my slow day.
We
And
have
then
an
do I don't need a fucking intervention, bro.
interview.
I'm learning.
I feel like we're really in a silver age of like podcasts too, especially right now, like or at least the dawn of it. Like I feel like everything that's happened in the last 10 years has been like a real bronze age, so to say, of podcasting, where we're kind of learning how to like learning what to do with it, how to market with it, and like how to reach out to people with it. I remember the very beginning, like podcast was just like an icon button on my Apple iPad or iPod, I should say. And like it's kind of developed over the course of time into this thing where everyone knows about it now. Everyone has an idea of how to use it, and I just see like now that we're understanding the equipment, we're going to kind of really move on to that next generation where we're really going to evolve. And it's not going to just be the tech, but it's going to be how we commercially like reach out to people. And then I feel like that's going to be just as impressive. It's kind of interesting too how we kind of went for media as a whole, how if we look at the great generation that group of people, how they originally started off, basically not started off, but with their form of entertainment was the radio. And then like my grandmother's 90 years old, and like I'm just thinking about like the transformation of like what she went through: the radio, television, and television is black and white in the beginning and go to color, and then to see the evolution of televisions just going through that cycle, movie theaters, so on and so on. And then all of a sudden, what do we come up to? It's like podcasting, which I feel like is just the whole circle of entertainment, because we're kind of going right back to the radio again, where we're just like audibly listening to something to entertain us, like people have done 100 years ago.
Yeah, just people talking out their ass, just kind of shooting the shit, hanging out.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's funny how that happens now, and it's great that everyone has a voice to express themselves too, and like nobody has to worry about their airtime because Tide is a sponsor on this.
No,
It's just interesting the freedom of how we could publicly reach out to people now.
no, I couldn't agree more. And the shows that I love and that I watch have been out for 10 years, which is just about over 520 episodes. And to me, that's nothing. Like when I think back to 11 years ago when I packed a backpack and left home against all insanity and got an Amber Alert, that was a fucking like that wasn't a different world. That was a parallel reality where I existed as a person who operated under no command that I think of today. Like I'm happy. I wake up, I clean, I do dishes. I'm the average Joe, fucking Mr. Mom, do, just do bread.
Oh yeah, Michael Keaton.
And so like that's my day to day now. But when I think back, it is an unparalleled uh, uh, comparison to when I think the difference. And so I want the same thing. I want to manifest the same thing 10 years from now. I've got 10 more years in me. I'm hoping, I'm planning at least. And so 10 years from now, I want to be on this show and on, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 other shows
Hell yeah.
doing the same thing, having fun,
Yep.
bullshitting, because in knowing that 10 years of growth will suffice a career, I can put the chalk in. I'm 26. Okay, cool. So my plan was to retire by 35. My contingency will be 40. Oh no, how bad will that be? And so I and that has
Yeah,
not.
Colonel Sanders started at a late age. So did Dave. So did Dave Thomas for Wendy's. I mean, everyone gets a late start in life. Who cares? As long as you get started and rolling, that's all that matters.
Seriously, 2 Chainz didn't become a rapper till his 50s. He's fucking killing it. Millionaire.
Dang, dang.
He's
Come
fucking.
on.
But nah, 2020, man.
2020 is in the past. We're in 2021, where the future of opportunity is in our hands, and it's our choice to do what we want with it.
Yeah.
I don't
We gotta grab balls. We gotta grab the bull by the horns. We gotta go out there. We gotta conquer the day. We're 365 days in 1 year. Let's kick the shit out of every single one day.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm doing research every day, and I don't find it bleak. Like, I enjoy it. You know, every time I text Christopher and I'm like, "What are you doing, bro?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm working." And I'm like, "Cool." He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm researching this, or I'm trying to get this." And he's like, "Motherfucker, you working too hard." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm not. I'm working." You know, and I enjoyed. I need the intake. I need something to express myself. You know, if I stagnate at all or sit stagnant, if stagnate's not a word, I don't know. I didn't fucking pass.
Stagnate's is a word.
Well, then good. See, I knew it was because I'm such a fucking affluent person. You know what I mean?
You were just going to use it anyway.
I was, and I would nothing because I can. You know, God damn it.
Mhm.
No, but I'm super excited to the future, and you know, I even if I'm, you know, my job is going like shit, and you know, hopefully me being a dad never goes like shit. But even if that, you know, comes up at some point on the line, or if it has in the past, you know, this show occasionally, and you know, it feels like work, but you know, the outcome and like the outreach when I'm messaging a person talking about guests we're gonna have and things we're gonna do and what we're gonna talk about, I'm excited. The guests excited.
Yeah.
You know, and where we're planning the future. I've had some guests on here that have a pretty decent audience, and you know, I've gotten some compliments from people who have a pretty decent audience, and the opposite. I've gotten compliments from people who don't have an audience, and I haven't gotten that much hate. I'm not gonna lie. I really haven't gotten one message where I was like, "Hey, babe, check this out," you know, and like I wouldn't care. I would sleep it fine. I wouldn't. You know, I would respond. I would not respond, but it. You know, I haven't really gotten any hate yet, and so it's really cool to be able to fucking kick it and do this, and you know, I look forward to it. You know, I think this show has value being one that can go from A to B to Z to D and back and forth, because we get a guest on here who wants to talk about one fucking thing, and all three of us or two of us are interactive with that. I think that kills it. You know, I mean, not to mention I can prove it does because I can give you other shows for an example. But us being our own entity, not comparing to others, I think we kill that. We get a guest on here, we ask him about regular bullshit. What's going on, Steven? How's your day going? You know, and I think we kill it, and you know, so I'm excited to see where this goes. You know, there's
Fuck yeah, man. And thank you, Richard, for getting us that new sponsor. Or not sponsor, but thank you for figuring out a different channel to really get this podcast going and having more listeners
all the time.
having eargasms.
No, I'm really looking all the time, and you know, it's a weird thing, you know, the society we live in today's, you know. And if you guys need to go, we've got an ample amount of time. I think this might be our longest show yet we're gonna publish. So if you guys need to run, we can clip this.
I actually have to go to bed. I gotta go to a new site tomorrow. But I just want you to know I really missed you guys from last week, and you know it's really good to see you guys again. And you know I really wish you guys had a happy and healthy Christmas and New Year's, and you know bless all you people out there. All right, bless every single one of you. And I say bless because you know what, we all just gotta have a little bit, you know, a little bit light in our heart, and that's what I want for all of you guys to have tonight. A little light in your heart. So from my light to your light, God bless.
Thank you, bro. Chris, you got any outros?
No, I'm good.
Instagram, come on.
Hope 2021 does better than the last year.
And check out Chris's Instagram. It's chaotic neutral on Instagram. It'll be beneath the show. And check out Spencer's charity. That'll be beneath the show. My Twitch and other, you know, Discord, other links are
But
beneath.
they've been watching your Twitch for the last hour. Why they want to watch it more?
This isn't Twitch, homie. You so old you don't even know what an app is, man.
Check me out on Letterboxd, Rufio86.
Yo, all right. Now this was a great show, and thank you guys. Yeah, and happy 2020, first episode of the new year. If
Happy
you
2021.
Yeah.
whatever. But
Fuck 2020.
51 episodes from now,
Yeah.
on episode 70. It will be next year. We will be talking about 2022 on episode 70. So just, think about that.
You
Everyone,
guys are psyched for 70. I'm psyched for 69. But up. Oh.
awesome. Everybody have a great night. Thank you for tuning in. Adios.
Take care, amigos.